Hi, I'm Nina, and this is Grace, and we'll be both leading you through a gentle and restorative flow here at Atma Yoga in Orinda. All right, to start off with class today, let's grab something that we can lift our hips off of. So in that case at home, it could be a pillow. If you have a yoga block at home, then you can use that as well. Something that allows for us to gently release from the back, sitting on the edge of the pillow in a comfortable seat. So that may be a simple pose like Sukhasana here. Maybe for you today, that means the legs out in front. So whatever really feels good in your body in this moment. We'll gently close our eyes, or you can keep a soft gaze in front of you, and we'll arrive into the space that we're in. Arriving into our bodies. Arriving into our breath. Noticing our breath as it enters in through our body. The rise and the fall of our belly away from our spine. The expansion, the contraction of our chest. And imagining that breath as it enters in through our body, moving to all the contours, the edges, the surfaces, the space within. Spreading and softening as it moves through. And noticing the qualities of the breath as it leaves our body on our exhale. On our exhale, releasing all that no longer serves us. On our inhale, bringing in that which we need. And along with the breath, taking this moment to notice what physical sensations are appearing in the body. Are there any areas of tingling, perhaps warmth, pressure? Maybe we are brought into awareness of areas that have a little more tension than others. Using that breath that we brought awareness into, imagining that breath moving to all the areas of our body that have tension. And the breath is dissolving, melting away all this tension, creating new light, creating new space. Softening, relaxing the body. Letting go of what it is that we don't need to hold on to. And at this time, noticing if there is an intention that we'd like to set for this practice. Whatever calls to you in this moment. Whatever you would like to bring into your practice, perhaps spreading the practice to our community, to the wider world around us. Repeating that intention to ourselves. And on the next breath, gently shrug the shoulders up to the ears, holding them there just for a few breaths. And then relaxing the shoulders back and down, separating the shoulder blades. We'll gently blink our eyes open, and we'll remove ourselves from our pillow, our block, and gently come onto our hands and our knees. Option for the knees, if you have a blanket or a longer towel, you can roll up the towel, the blanket, and gently place them underneath the knees, adding a little bit of a soft cushioning. And we're going to come into a tabletop position. Fingers are spread wide, the shoulders are right over the wrist, toes are untucked, and keeping the neck long, the crown of the head reaching in front of you. Taking a normal inhale in here through the nose and a normal exhale out. On the next inhale, bringing the navel towards the mat, gaze up into cow, and exhaling as we round the spine into cat. Inhaling again, navel moving towards the mat, gaze up. And exhale as we round the spine, really adding some dynamic movement as we continue doing a few rounds of cat and cow in our own way for our own practice, really moving at your own pace. Maybe even closing the eyes, really using this time to go within the body, really noticing what sensations coming up for us as we start our movement. And adding on any movements that feel good to you in the body, perhaps moving the hips in circles. Maybe that involves gently gazing back at the heels, getting a lateral stretch. Or perhaps I can mean a gentle flipping of the wrist if there's any wrist tension. Really adding dynamic movement into the spine, into the hips in a way that feels good in your body in this moment. Finding that balance between effort and ease. Maybe even doing a few neck rolls. Really moving with your breath. Feeling that breath moving to all the areas of tension that we're feeling in the body. And we'll finish up our last movement of cat and cow, coming back into a neutral tabletop, keeping the shoulders over the wrist, very gently tuck our toes, gently lift our knees up off of the mat and come into our first downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And in the downward dog, spreading those fingers wide, really rooting down into those inner corners of both of the hands. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Where can we add more ease in this moment? Bending our knees, wagging our tail, really adding some movement, bringing one heel at a time to the ground. Relaxing the neck, raising those hips high to the sky, imagining there's a string emanating from the tailbone, really raising to the sky. Take 3 more full breaths here, softening, relaxing as we move on from one breath to the next. Really feeling grounded. Is there a way that we can feel grounded in this first downward dog? On the next breath, gently look to the front of your mat and gently bring the feet to the hands. Bringing the feet about hips width apart, grabbing opposite elbows, coming into ragdoll, bending the knees as much as feels comfortable, maybe a gentle swing left and right. Breathing here. And on the next breath, releasing the hands down to the mat, heel toe the feet together, and slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Really taking your time, grounding down into the feet, and painting a circle up to the sky. Palms together at the sky, Urdhva Hastasana, growing tall. Palms down at the heart and at the side. Gently closing the eyes, really rooting down through the feet. Grounding ourselves in mountain pose, Tadasana, spreading the fingers wide, shoulders away from the ears, reaching the crown of the head to the sky. As we prepare for just a gentle sun salutation A, Surya Namaskar A. Gently blink the eyes open, check that the toes are together, the heels are slightly apart, gentle bend in the knees so we're not locking the knees. As we inhale the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana, hinging forward at the hips, bending the knees as much as we need. Inhale, hands on shins or fingertips on the ground, Ardha Uttanasana, crown of the head, reaching towards the front of the mat. Exhale as we forward fold once again, Uttanasana. Inhale as we slowly rise back up, Urdhva Hastasana, just getting some gentle movement, gaze up. Palms down at the heart. And to the side, Samastitihi. Once again, adding on a little bit more to Surya A. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. This time, exhale as you plant both hands, bend both knees. Bring your left foot back. Bring your right foot back. Coming into our first high plank, option to always bring knees down on that rolled up towel or blanket as we showed before. And on the next breath, gently coming all the way down to the mat, trying to keep the hands where they are, bending the knees down, untucking the toes, and getting ready for Cobra Bhujangasana. In Cobra, the hands are planted, the elbows are bent into the body. Really squeezing those elbows, really squeezing that core as we inhale, rise up, Cobra, getting that gentle bend in the back. Exhale as we come back down. Inhale, squeezing the elbows, rising up, Cobra, and exhale, come back down. One last Cobra. Inhale, rise up. Exhale all the way down. Keeping your hands where they are, the elbows bent into the body. Gently tuck the toes as you lift the knees up, getting ready to push up into high plank. Option to just go back into downward dog. Otherwise, pushing up into high plank and rolling back into downward dog. Taking just 2 to 3 full breaths here. Really squeezing those inner corners of both of the hands down on the ground. The feet are hips width apart. And raising the hips high to the sky as we add our movement. And looking to the front of your mat, step or jump your feet to your hands. Inhaling halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana. And palms down to the heart, Anjali Mudra. And to the side. One last Surya A to add some heat. Inhaling, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale as you plant both hands, bend both knees, coming back into that high plank. Option here, like we showed before, you can come all the way down into Cobra. The other option is to shift the shoulders past the wrist, coming down into Chaturanga Dandasana, bending the elbows into the body, inhaling as the tops of the feet come down, heart pulls through upward dog or Cobra, like we showed before, and exhaling as we roll back into our downward dog. Taking 3 more breaths here. Maybe even closing the eyes, really noticing what sensations are coming up in the body. And is there a way that we can add more relaxation into the body? Closing our eyes, sending the breath to those areas that need some extra tension relief. Shoulders away from the ears. And on the next breath, bring the knees down to the mat, coming into child's pose. And in child's pose, option here to grab a blanket or a pillow. You can place it underneath, on top of the heels, laying back. You can also bring the rolled up towel underneath if that feels good for you. Option in child's pose, you can also bring the knees together if that feels better in the body. As you can see Grace doing here, she has the arms out in front of her. Option to also bring the arms back by the heels, coming into an egg shape, taking just a few breaths here, maybe even rolling the forehead left and right, just massaging the forehead, breathing here. And on the next breath, we'll gently roll up, 1 vertebra at a time. When we get to the top, shrugging the shoulders up to the ears and back down. For the next set of poses, we'll be on the mat. So option to have any of the props that we showed you, a pillow, a blanket, a towel, if you have a block, anything that you can use that'll add more ease. Let's roll our hips off to one side, legs out in front of us. Great time to grab a rolled up blanket or towel, perhaps underneath our hips, adding some gentle elevation. Removing the flesh from underneath our seat, flexing the feet in Paschimottanasana. Sitting tall, really raising the crown of the head to the sky. We'll inhale our crown of the head up in the arms to the sky. Exhale as we forward fold over the legs. And not necessarily striving or reaching for anything or our feet in particular, but really finding ease in our forward fold, relaxing the neck down to the legs, bending our knees as much as feels comfortable in the body, really relaxing the full back, relaxing the neck, maybe even doing half neck circles, full circles here if that feels good to you. Just doing a check-in as we move to the floor, doing a check-in with our body. How does our body feel? Our jaw feel? Is our jaw relaxed? Shoulders away from the ears. Where can we add a little more ease and gentleness into our body in this moment? And at any point, any of these poses that we do, these asanas, feel free to stay in them longer than we are doing here if something feels extra good for you. So from Paschimottanasana, Very gently rolling up one vertebra at a time. When you get to the top, shrug the shoulders up to the ears and back down. Keeping your right leg straight, gently move the right leg towards the outer right edge of your mat or where you are in your space. Bending the left foot into that right leg. Great time here to use a blanket underneath your left knee. If that feels good for you, a block, a rolled up blanket, just adding some ease to that left knee. Gently use the hands to square the chest and the shoulders over that right leg, flexing those right toes. We'll bring the arms to frame the ears, inhaling the crown of the head up to the sky, exhaling as we forward fold over that right leg. And bending that right knee as much as we need to add ease into the body. And very gently bringing that left shoulder down as we square ourselves over that right leg. Very gentle hip opening here. Option, like we said, pillow, or you don't have to use a pillow if you don't like, or a blanket. Taking a few breaths here. You can always stay longer here if that feels good in the body. And we'll gently roll up one vertebra at a time, shrugging the shoulders up to the ears and back down. And we'll just switch, Janu Shirshasana on the other side. So this time the left leg comes out, the right foot bends into the left. We can use a pillow to gently add some relaxation into that right knee, especially if there's a lot of space from the mat. Flexing the left toes, gently use the hands to square the shoulders, the chest over that left leg, crown of the head to the sky, framing the ears with the arms. Inhale, the crown up, exhale as we forward fold, other side. Relaxing the neck down and noticing if this side feels different from the other, and that is okay. Our body is very versatile as we move through our sequence and really accepting our body, meeting our body where it is. Gently on this side, bringing that right shoulder down and bending that left knee as much as we need to avoid any pain. And choosing to stay in Janu Shirshasana for as long as feels good in the body. And we'll gently roll up one vertebra at a time, shrugging the shoulders up to the ears and back down. On the next breath, very gently, you can remove that blanket or the pillow from the right leg. We'll actually bring both feet together into Baddha Konasana. So this is one of those cases where we could bring two pillows underneath the knees, if that feels good. Option to bring two blocks, two rolled up blankets. And if you're feeling extra open in the hips today, you can open up your feet like a book. Gently holding on to the legs, reaching the crown of the head up to the sky as we inhale the crown up further, exhale as we forward fold. And at the end, rounding our spine as our head comes down towards the mat. Option to bring the arms out in front of you if that feels good to you. An option if you would like to use your elbows to gently guide the knees down if hip opening is in your practice today. So all these different options here. Really adding ease into the spine, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears in this restorative Baddha Konasana. Option here, if you even have a third pillow or a third block, you can even use a block to gently lay your head on, or a pillow as well. So using that to really add some ease in this restorative sequence. So we can get really creative with all the options that we have in our homes for ways to add ease into our restorative, gentle yoga sequence. Feel free, like any of the others, to stay here as long as you need. And we'll gently roll up one vertebra at a time, shrugging the shoulders up to the ears and back down. Time to move down to the mat. So removing our props from underneath us, gently bringing yourself up to halfway up your mat and coming all the way down to the mat. Growing tall as we reach our hands up so high above us, our legs out in front of us, growing as tall and long as we can. And on the next breath, hugging both knees into the chest, giving ourselves a tight squeeze, maybe rocking left and right, massaging the spine. And on the next breath, holding on to that right knee as we extend down that left leg, coming into Apanasana. Options for that right knee. We can squeeze that right knee to the body, or we can squeeze that right knee out towards the right shoulder or armpit for a hip opener. Option to move the knee in circles if that feels good for you, really opening up that hip joint. Taking a few breaths here, reversing the circle. Option to do this as long as we'd like. Otherwise, on the next breath, transferring that right knee into the left hand, swinging that right knee over to the left side of the body into a spinal twist, floating this right arm to the sky, peeling that right shoulder blade down on the mat, really working the chest to the sky into a spinal twist. This one you may want to stay in a little bit longer than we're showing here. Option to bring a pillow underneath your knee for any of this, and feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. Otherwise, gently bringing both feet back down onto the mat, both knees bent to the sky, push into the feet, lift the hips up, neutralizing the spine, squeezing the knees back into the body as the hips move down to the mat, giving yourself a tight squeeze, hugging yourself, knees into the chest, rocking left and right. And this time, holding on to that left knee, right leg extended, Apanasana, other side. Once again, knee can squeeze into the chest or out into the left shoulder, armpit, and rotating in circles, as big or little of a circle as feels good in the body. Really feeling that nice stretch. And then for spinal twist, other side, transferring that left knee into the right hand, swinging that left knee over to the right side, floating that left arm to the sky, peeling that left shoulder blade down to the mat, spinal twist, other side. Option to grab a blanket here and stay here as long as feels good. Really opening up the heart, getting that nice restorative spinal twist. And when you're ready to move on from the spinal twist, both feet come back down on the mat, bending both knees to the sky, pushing into the feet, lifting the hips, very gentle bridge pose here. Option to even place a pillow underneath the hips, allowing for a very restorative bridge. Releasing that back, opening up the heart. And to get out of bridge, push into the feet, lift the hips as the hips come back down, squeezing both knees back into the body. One last squeeze, rocking left and right. And then doing any last movements that you feel you need in your body, or coming down into the final pose of Shavasana, final pose of stillness. Option in Shavasana, you can bend the knees, place pillows underneath the knees, really adding some release, or a rolled up blanket. Maybe even taking your rolled up towel and placing it over the eyes. maybe having an aromatherapy diffuser around you, whatever really adds the most ease in this moment. And staying here as long as you need for the remainder of class, using this time to really close the eyes, tuning into the body, perhaps scanning the body from head to toe, checking in with the breath. Sending breath to those areas of tension, melting that tension away. And after a few minutes of Shavasana, gently starting to wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers, creating new movement, new sensations, a new beginning in the body, in the mind, in the breath. And when you're ready, gently rolling over onto either side, coming into a fetal position, taking a moment to collect the breath, signifying a new beginning. And when you're ready, very gently making your way back up into a comfortable seat. Perhaps that's on the edge of your rolled up blanket or towel. You can sit on the edge of a pillow, the edge of a block or a shoebox, for example, that's filled. Finding that comfortable seat once again, the heart open, the spine long, the crown of the head to the sky. And this time let's bring our palms together at the heart, Anjali Mudra, bowing our head down to our palms. Closing out our practice by giving gratitude to ourselves, our bodies, our mind, our breath. Giving gratitude to our community, our loved ones, the whole world, everyone outside of us, sending compassion from our practice to everyone in the world. And bringing our attention back to that intention that we set at the beginning of class. And knowing that our intention can always stay with us, even once we're off of our yoga mats. The yoga practice does not stop here, it's always a journey. Grace and I thank you for joining us in this gentle restorative practice. We send you love and light. We send you compassion. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you be at ease. Namaste.